Climate change has become an urgent issue in the world. To mitigate the problems, Salt Lake City aims to achieve a positive climate and create a livable and sustainable environment for residents. This Capstone project uses planning methodology to analyze the carbon emission and potential strategies to reduce carbon emission in the city in terms of transportation, green infrastructure, and solar energy. Salt Lake City is the capital city of Utah State, surrounded by the Salt Lake and mountains. The high latitude of the city offers a long and cold winter each year, and the perception of the city is lower than the national level, but it has a longer summer day than the average, which offers a dry and cold nature environment. In the past decades, with the growth of population and economy, even if the city has tried to shrink the carbon emissions, we can only obtain a slight reduction of 3% from 2009 to 2019. This chart shows the carbon emission change in different sectors. Here, the other sector in yellow indicates additional emissions apart from transportation, residential, and non-residential emissions, such as irrigation, public street lightings, and so on and so forth. What need to mention is that transportation emission in this period continuously increased, and the emissions from other sectors transferred to the rest sector because of meter system update, and this is why we saw a great decline in this sector. So, for the business as usual, will the emission keep growing? According to the previous emissions, considering the population and economy effects on carbon emissions, I use these regression models to project the emissions for business as usual. The result shows a decline in short term but unchangeable in the long term. While also, the result has a positive reflection on residential emission, which corresponds with the contribution of promoting renewable electricity in communities. All in all, it seems that we still need more effective strategies to achieve a big carbon reduction in the future. So how can we achieve that goal? In addition, the city documented Climate Positive 2040, which highlights sustainability programs and long-term goals, including 50% renewable municipal electricity by 2020, 100% renewable community electricity by 2030, and 80% carbon reduction under 2009 level by 2040. For transportation, the city has adopted multiple programs and research aiming to increase the use of public transit, promote active transportation, accelerate electric vehicle adoption, and reduce emission from air travel. For public transit, it still needs to fill the network gap in the city and collaborate with other strategies such as electrified transportation. For electrified transportation, I generated formulas to analyze the influence of different EV fraction by 2030 on carbon emission process. The result highlights 15% EV fraction, which will peak the carbon emission in 2022 and achieve a 5% carbon reduction by 2030. In addition, what I need to mention is that the emphasis on the integrated infrastructure for electric vehicle is very important, such as charging stations. For green infrastructure, here I analyze the urban forests in Salt Lake City. Trees provide benefits on carbon reduction by sequestrating and storing emitted carbon in the air. The city currently has roughly 85,000 public trees and plants 1,000 more trees every year. However, for 2019, the reduction contributed by trees was only 0.04%, and the maintenance fee for trees in the city is super high because of the dry nature environment. Therefore, the city demands trade-off between the benefits and the cost. For solar energy, apart from solar roofs, I conducted an investment on solar parking canopy, which is constructed above the ground of parking lots with solar panels. The generated electricity can be used for EV charging at surrounding facilities. In a case study, I choose a parking lot in downtown. It can provide 1.15 acre solar canopy, which can generate up to 1.148 gigawatt-hour annually and reduce roughly 2,000 metric ton carbon emission through electricity generation and EV attraction. Therefore, if we have 20 same-scale solar canopies, it will reduce about 1% carbon emission under 2009 level. After combining this strategy, we can obtain that if the city achieves 15% EV fraction by 2030 and 50% by 2040, and plants 1,000 more trees every year, and construct 23-acre solar canopy by 2030 and double it by 2040, then under 2009 level, the carbon emission will decrease by 22% by 2030 and 33% by 2040. In conclusion, as for transportation, public transit still has gaps in services and accessibility, which needs further improvements. Additionally, public transit has potential opportunity to collaborate with other strategies such as solar canopy, EV transit, and electrified transportation can effectively reduce carbon emission. 15% EV fraction can expect emission peak in 2022 and reduce roughly 5% carbon emission by 2030. Urban forests in Salt Lake City can sequestrate and store carbon emission, but the irrigation fee increases the maintenance cost, which needs trade-off between the carbon reduction effect and the cost. Solar canopy in parking lot can be an effective strategy. It can use the advantage of the adequate sunshine and parking lots in the city. The electricity generated by solar canopy in parking lots can attract electric vehicle charging and promote electrified transportation as well. Overall, it is a challenging but worthy journey to achieve sustainability in Salt Lake City. We are ambitious to succeed in fulfilling the targets with hope in the foreseen future. Thanks for your patience and welcome to start the journey to sustainability together.